I almost forgot to unmute my mic. And the audio was doubled up. And we almost went a stream without audio issues, but alas, I had to forget and have my audio doubled up. Alas. Anyway, guys, well, hold on. Something's wrong. Give me a sec. Here we are. So good to be with you guys today. I am Kai Schwemmer, your chipper and jovial, and today, pensive host. And this is Out of Touch. Welcome back. We've been streaming pretty consistently. You know, I hate to hype myself up too much, but we've been actually really good about this whole consistent streaming business, haven't we? Yeah, we've been pretty good actually, as I think. Don't you guys agree? Anyway, thank you guys for being with me. So good to be back. Now we're back in the studio we were in a little bit ago. Uh-oh. Hold on. Dude, I just feel like there we go. That should be a little bit better. Anyway, so good to be back with you guys. Crazy day for me. First day of class of the winter semester. Right after my first two classes, I drive up to the University of Utah. It's an hour drive. Drive up to the University of Utah, do an hour Reawaken debate tour, campus tour. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back at the University of Utah, but for a little bit longer than I was today. It's going to be very epic. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be doing tabling alongside James Owens, Aiden Nichols, absolute legend. I mean, these guys are great. We did a little bit of trolling and joking and whatnot yesterday. This morning, dude, I'm all turned around. And let me just say, you know, this year is shaping up to be the year that the chuds kill themselves. It is shaping up to be the year that the chuds are placed on permanent suicide watch because things are happening. In fact, things cannot stop happening. That's always how it is. Chuds, I'm sorry. New year, new things happening. Everybody says nothing will ever happen, and then boom, a full week of happening. So there's a lot to get into. There's a lot of things to discuss. We're going to probably primarily focus on the shooting in Minnesota. Can I just say at the onset, can we just wipe Minneapolis from the face of the map of the earth? Could we just like PixArt notepad drawing tool erase? Can we just erase Minnesota entirely? I mean, what do we have this year? We've got Nick Shirley. Maybe this started last year, didn't it? But anyway, you got Nick Shirley exposing Governor Tim Walz to the point where he drops out of his race. Crazy. Proving that that one kid journalist truly can beat the swamp, the Democratic establishment. You know, I'm not opposed to nuking Minnesota as a whole. And I mean that facetiously. I'm joking. I don't mean actually taking any lives. Let me be clear. But we need to do something like this. Canada, take them. We do not want them. Minneapolis, this is like cursed ground. Minneapolis is cursed. I don't know which one of you goth, emo, witchcraft, Wiccan girls, ribs, put your hex on all of Minneapolis and caused George Floyd to be killed, the riots to start, this woman now protesting against ICE to be killed. What else has happened? Oh yeah, the Somalian scams. I don't know what hex you guys put on Minnesota and Minneapolis to attract every single Somalian in the United States, except for the one that's running for office in Utah. I don't know what hex you put on that freaking place, that cursed place, but it is far, far more than you ever could have wished for. You have done way too much. That place is going to hell in a handbasket, in a handcart, I think is the actual phrase. What the flip? Literally, I was talking to my buddy today. I'm like, let me describe to you the situation. We were just gaming, playing some Rainbow Six Siege, and we were playing, and I go, let me describe to you what just happened today. I describe it. I'm like, guess where this happened in the entire country. First, he guessed LA after I said ice, and I'm like, no, let me tell you the rest of the story. So I tell him the rest of the story. You know, there's this liberal woman, lesbian, very, you know, pro-migrant, pro-community, whatever, white. And she stops ICE from executing their mission. And in an attempt to flee, when they try to pursue her or stop her, she kind of swipes the side of one of the ICE officers, who then shoots her. And now there's like riots and protests and everything in Minneapolis. Or I didn't say in Minneapolis, but I said, and then there's riots and protests and everything. Within 3 guesses, he was able to know that it was in Minneapolis, dude. Within 3 guesses. This place is cursed. Is it literally 5 blocks from George Floyd? There's got to be some kind of spiritual explanation for why that is unhallowed ground. Somebody summoned the wither over there or something. That's what's going to happen next. They're going to start. It's going to be Stranger Things. Stranger Things had Hawkins. No, it's actually based on Minneapolis, Minnesota is actually what it's based on. It's not Hawkins, Indiana. It's Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota is the real Hawkins. And now you have 2 people dead. Now you've got George Floyd, and now you've got this woman that was just killed. If you kill 2 more people, Vecna is gonna. Who's Vecna? Vecna's like Jacob Frey, or the Somalian guy that was going to win the seat of mayor. That guy is going to take over the entire place. It's gonna be like Stranger Things season 5. Mark my words. Anyway, rant about Minneapolis aside, we do have to actually get into this, because I got into a little bit of hot water. Everybody and their mom thinks it's like fun to dunk on me, even though I am literally right, as per usual. But we'll read over the entire story, and then I'll tell you what I said, and then I'll tell you kind of my perspectives on it. There is some stuff that I blame Brylan Hollyhand. Dude, I do too. My brother. No, I'm joking. Hey, you guys want to know something interesting? Guess who connected with Brylan Hollyhand? Could be a. Let me give you a hint. We're gonna there might be a crossover of Brylan Hollyhand and Kai Jollyhand. Too obvious? It's me. Anyway, all that aside, yeah, everybody thinks it's fun to dunk on me, but really the thing that is true is that there's just a lot of really stupid takes about this situation. And obviously, like, the jokes aside and whatnot, there is an amount of reverence and an amount of seriousness that we ought to be talking about this with. It's like, there's no way this gets better. There's no way that the country gets better from here. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And this is, I think, a very pivotal moment. You thought Chaz was bad. You thought these autonomous zones were bad. Just wait what happens. And the most surreal thing about all of this is watching the video. It's in this like totally tranquil, old, nice neighborhood. Dude, Tyler. There's a game right now. Is BYU playing? That's crazy, bro. That's my bad. Ayo, that's my bad, champ. I gotta talk about the news. I gotta do my job. Hey. But what was I just saying? I'm so easily distracted. The chat is just too interesting. Yeah, I just don't think this gets any better. And it's like, whichever way you slice it, it is a loss of life. A loss of life that was totally unnecessary. And that's the problem. Is it's like this could have totally been avoided. And I'm not saying like the ICE agents, like it could have totally been avoided on their part. I think, as we'll get into, I think what they did actually was largely justified. But what I think is important to say is we're just at a place in this country. I mean, this is a little bit obvious, but we're at a place in this country that is just completely ridiculous. This country really, in many ways, just in a sense of how our social fabric is doing, is completely unrecognizable. The social fabric is hanging on by threads. It's hanging together by threads. It's really, really bad. And I don't think this is going to get any better. I think, I think we're probably gearing up for a crazy, crazy summer. You guys don't realize we have like 3 more years of the Trump presidency And it's going to be 3 more years of a true cultural clash over the issue of deportation. And I think that the Trump administration has to be very, very careful with what they do going forward. The optics of their approach need to be very clean. And we'll get into all of that, but first let's actually read about the details of the story, and then let's also read some of the statements that have been made by a couple elected officials. I'll give you guys a breakdown. I'll give you what my legal experts and analysts have been telling me. I'll let you know what we're thinking, whether this was a justified shooting or whether it was unjustified. And then we'll also get into what people are saying on Twitter, because they're being very mean, okay? Captive Dreamer, very mean, not taking me in good faith. Doesn't, okay, guys, before you try to dunk on a guy, read the replies. Read the replies that he put on the exact same tweet, okay? Chill, everybody. Calm the flip down, okay? I actually despise that. You know that I put good takes out consistently, and you see one tweet of mine, and you think there's one little fly in it, and boom, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. Then it's open season. I don't like that. Anyway, let's jump in. We'll read. This is from the New York Times, being updated live, because this is developing. It happened around noon. But anyway, yes. Here we start. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. We're going to read from, my apologies. Here from NPR, which provides a better summary. It's very editorialized. We'll analyze that. Don't even worry. But here it is. Federal and local officials dispute the circumstances that led to an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer to fatally shoot a 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis on Wednesday. President Trump and other members of his administration characterized the ICE agent's actions as an act of self-defense. State and local leaders, however, cast doubt on that account and called for a full and fair investigation. And that, by the way, I think is fine. It's like, you know, not to totally interject with what we're reading about, but oversight is fine. Oversight for the police, for ICE, all of that is okay. The issue is that the trend has been to defund the police, to strip them of any kind of legal ability to do their jobs, to execute their orders. And one of the big problems, right, is this puts them on the back foot, and they're the ones risking their lives. And we all, as bystanders, we enjoy the opportunity to have a dozen different angles of every single situation. We'll never actually know what's happening inside the head of some of these police officers or other enforcement arms of the state, ICE, Border Patrol, whatever it may be, the National Guard, whatever it may be. And yeah, I just want to say I'm in favor of that. It's like, give it a full and fair investigation. No problem with that at all. The issue is just, it's like a lot of the times good cops are strung out and made examples of because there's an effort to, you know, just go after everything with lawfare, with the idea of making an example out of police officers who truly were just trying to do their job. And it's very easy, again, to critique from the side. So I'll do my best to avoid doing that, especially when, and this is what nobody does, by the way. This is what absolutely nobody does. Nobody talking about this issue is willing to tell you that they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a legal analyst. I know a couple people who are prosecutors or who are familiar with law, who are cops. I have family members who were cops for a while. It's a little different for ICE, but, you know, I'm able to do some amount of research and tell you what I've heard from sources that I deem are credible. Very few people on Twitter will ever tell you that. Very few people are actually interested in reporting facts or looking at things without an answer already in mind. And so that's going to make for maybe a controversial show tonight, because I'm trying to give you a take that is nuanced, that maybe is not as fun as some of the memes that you're seeing on Twitter, but it's, I think, the legit and the most important take for the right wing. But we'll keep reading. It says, President Trump and other members of his administration characterized the ISIS... Oh, yeah. We just read that. Hold on. But again, state and local leaders basically dispute what the Trump admin have been saying, and Kristi Noem and the press release from the DHS. And they're calling for a full and fair investigation. The shooting occurred on a residential street in South Minneapolis, less than a mile from where George Floyd was killed by police in 2020. You see, this is what I'm saying. That's insane. They need to exercise or something that entire block, that entire mile radius. ICE agents were conducting targeted immigration enforcement operations at the time, according to the Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin. NPR and NPR have reviewed multiple videos of the shooting taken from different vantage points and posted to social media. The footage shows multiple officers near an SUV stopped in the middle of the road. One officer demands the driver exit the vehicle and grabs the car handle. The SUV reverses, then begins to drive forward, which is when a different officer near the front of the car pulls his weapon and fires into the vehicle. 3 gunshots are heard as the firing officer backs away from the SUV. Moments later, the vehicle crashes. It doesn't mention the fact that it appears on video. I have not seen any evidence to the contrary that the officer was swiped by the vehicle. That's what it appears as. He at least had to jump out of the way, which is, from my understanding of the legal code on this and the precedent and the case law, that is reasonable enough effort to justify a threat to life. But we'll continue going. The Minneapolis City Council identified the woman as Renee Nicole Good. Crazy last name physiognomy. Renee was a resident of our city who was out caring for her neighbors this morning, and her life was taken at the hands of the federal government, the city council said in a statement. NPR member station NPR News has reached out to a family member of the woman. On Wednesday night, large crowds of people filled the street at a vigil in South Minneapolis to mourn Good's death. Many held up posters criticizing ICE's presence in the city, while others carried signs that read, "Remember." Nakima Levy Armstrong, a civil rights lawyer, was one of the many speakers who paid tribute to Good at the vigil, NPR News reported. She did not deserve to be gunned down in cold blood for standing up for her neighbor, Armstrong said. It's this very ambiguous thing, standing up for your neighbor. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that like your neighbor is an illegal immigrant and you are trying to impede officers from doing their job? It's like, oh, I'm caring for my neighbor. I'm trying to make sure that the cops don't go in and they bust his, coke ring. I'm a good neighbor. I was caring for my neighbors when, and I know this is not the case with the Minneapolis thing, but I was caring for my neighbors when I took out the stendo, when I took out my stick and just started letting that thing bark at the ops because they were approaching the vicinity of where my buddy was running his meth lab. I was looking out for my neighbor, really. What, you want your neighbor to go to jail? Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyway, so this rhetorical framing, I hate that. Anyway, according to, here it is. At a press conference on Wednesday evening, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the use of force by an ICE agent while calling the motorist actions an act of domestic terrorism. I like that she said that. According to Noem, ICE officials that morning were helping push one of their vehicles out of the snow when protesters appeared. Noem said the woman who was fatally shot blocked federal officers with her vehicle and refused to exit her car when officers ordered her to do so. She added that the ICE officer who fired his gun had been struck by the car and was taken to a hospital, where he was later released. It's clearly established law that a vehicle driven, this is a quote, it's a clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon, she said. Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon, so I do believe that this officer used his training in this situation. Noem said she also spoke with Minnesota Gov. Tim Walz and acknowledged that they hold very different viewpoints on the shooting. The incident has worsened tensions between the Trump administration and Minneapolis, which has been the target of a large-scale immigration crackdown. Local officials said they expect protests to follow and urged residents to remain peaceful. I love that, dude. I love that the local officials rightfully know that that you're going to expect protests. It's like Minneapolis. Anything happens, dude, somebody could die of old age, and in Minneapolis, they're going to light a cop car on fire. That's just how they celebrate. The 4th of July in Minneapolis means shooting cop tires and, breaking windshields. That's the 4th of July in Minneapolis. So, anyway, a couple different things. One of the arguments that you're going to be seeing a lot, and it's difficult because I haven't seen a video that shows an extensive, prior portion of the video. What we have video of, or at least the video that I've seen, and it could be that something has come out that that has not crossed my desk. That's possible. That's kind of the issue with reporting on something the day it breaks. What we see in the original video, right, that's come out, this is not the one that's shot from down the street, but rather the one that's shot kind of from the side of the vehicle. You see Renee, Miss Good, I'm gonna say Renee. You see Renee wave along one of the cars that the officers are in. They wave along the car, Renee waves along the car. The car goes around her, but the car stops. This is important. 2 men presumably exit the car. We don't know if there's more than 2 in the vehicle, but she waves them around her and then they hop out of the car. Then another car pulls up. This car stops. These are the two people that you're going to see most frequently on the video. Neither of them were the shooters. Two ICE agents leave the next SUV, the one that's on the left side of the video, closer to us. And at this time, you can't see the other two who have hopped out of their car. The only reason we know they hopped out of their car is because we see them in the video as they're about to get hit. So the two gentlemen, these officers, walk out of the car on the left. They approach Renee's car. One of them says, "Get the F out of the vehicle," grabs the door handle. Renee, appearing panicked, backs up, puts it in reverse, wheel cranked all the way to the left. Then shifts gears, cranks the wheel all the way to the right, we presume, and then drives. And the two ICE agents that left the first vehicle had crossed around the front of the car. And this is where you see one of them nearly hit in the first video, and the other video appears that he is hit. It shows a more clear angle of it. And that is the officer, one of the two that hopped out of the car, presumably the driver's side. This is the officer that fires the 3 bullets and kills Renee. The car then continues with her foot still on the gas pedal. The car jumps forward, leaps forward, and eventually ends up crashing into 2 parked cars a little further up. So that's kind of the breakdown of the situation. And there's a couple different things to analyze, but let's read over what is being said by the federal and local officials regarding or concerning this matter. In a statement, DHS spokesperson McLaughlin asserted that the motorist weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. She added that the ICE officer who pulled the trigger was fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public. Upon reviewing a video of the incident, President Trump said he also believes the shooting was an act of self-defense. The woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, Trump wrote on Truth Social. So it says, but local leaders have raised concerns about the Trump administration's account of the shooting. At a fiery press conference, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey accused ICE of trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video myself, I want to tell everybody that is bullcrap. He didn't say crap, though. The mayor called on ICE agents to leave the city, asserting that federal immigration authorities were ripping families apart and sowing chaos on Minneapolis streets. Governor Walz wrote on X that he has seen video of the shooting and told the public, don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there is a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to ensure accountability and justice, he added. Minneapolis police chief says he's very concerned about the use of deadly force. At a press conference, Minneapolis police chief Brian O'Hara said local police arrived at the scene to find a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. They performed life-saving measures at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead, he added. Preliminary information, according to O'Hara, indicated that the woman was in her vehicle and blocking the road on Portland Avenue between 33rd and 34th Street. At some point, a federal law enforcement approached her on foot, and that vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired, he said, adding that the car then crashed on the side of the roadway. O'Hara said that he was very concerned with the tactics used by federal immigration agents. He noted that the use of deadly force is justified at times, but that most law enforcement agencies in the United States are trained to minimize the risks and need for deadly force. In any professional law enforcement agency in the country, I think they would tell you it's obviously very concerning whenever there's a shooting into a vehicle of someone who's not armed, he said. The shooting is being investigated by the FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. They will investigate the use of deadly force. So there you go. That's one of the big things here, is there's a huge split between what the state government and the federal government are saying. Kristi Noem's statement, I like. Besides this idea that he was run over, the cop was not run over. He could have been. That's true. He could have been run over had he not moved. But one of the things that's really troubling, and that initially got me kind of into the hot water about this issue, is that there are 2 ways of looking at this. The right wing is basically seeing her as almost this Antifa militant who was out there to run over cops, or that when she got in her car, it was with the intent of running over a police officer. And I just don't think that's the case. I don't think the video shows that to be the case. I don't think that's likely. I think what she was doing and what the video shows is that she was trying to leave, despite the fact that she was being detained. So that's a problem in and of itself. Like, I don't know where we get this idea. Sorry, go off moment for a minute. I don't know where we get this idea from that, like, when law enforcement agents just tell you to do something, that you can debate that you can be like, no, I disagree. I'm actually going to hop in my car and leave. That's not how that works, honey. I'm sorry. It's like, you don't get to debate that. And I understand, okay, well, maybe they don't have the best reason. Still, you don't run away. You do not get to hop in your car and say, no, I'm not having this conversation. This is not an argument with your hubby at the dinner table. This is not, you get to give them the silent treatment. I mean, technically, yes, that would be more accurate because you're actually not obliged to give them any information. You know, if ICE arrests you, you are not obliged to tell them anything about your immigration status or anything like that. However, they can detain you. That is absolutely within their right. That is absolutely legally something that they can do if they have probable cause. So it's like, dude, I don't know. This is the thing that really bugs me. I don't know where we get this idea that it's like, no, sorry, officer. You see this all the time, this body cam footage where cops are like, please, sir, step out of the vehicle. And the guy's like, no, I'm not going to do that. My brother. What? It honestly bugs me so much that somehow we've just gotten to this point where it's like, and I'll say something as an aside. I don't like that the cop said, you know, get the F out of the car. Not just because it's a swear word. I don't like it for that reason, obviously. But also because I think that every single word a police officer says has obviously the capacity to escalate a situation. And I'll be honest, I've seen plenty of videos of cops who are way more belligerent than they ought to be. And you can see the demeanor, by the way, between the two officers, the two agents that leave the vehicle. Totally different body language, totally different approach. And I think that is something to keep in mind. That being said, it seems, and this is what somebody who has been interviewed since, I think it was a neighbor or a friend or something, it seems very clear that she was there disrupting and impeding the ability of the officers to do their job, which is to get people who they have probable cause and a plausible, reason to suspect as illegal immigrants. It is to take them and to detain them and to bring them to a facility where they could, their immigration status can be evaluated and they can be put into removal proceedings if they are in fact illegal. So just to begin with, I also hate the fact that we as a country are at the point where people are so comfortable just saying, hey, police, you don't get to do your job. That's a huge problem. And nobody, by the way, on the left ever talks about that. During the debates this morning, and I know I really actually have to get into the meat and potatoes of what happened tonight or to this afternoon, but it's like during the debate this morning, the thing that always gets brought up concerning left-wing and right-wing violence is what? What gets brought up? January 6th. That's the right-wing violence. What is it? Oh, it's an attack on democracy. Well, hey, you know what a lot of the left-wing violence is? And it's far more prevalent, far more wide-sweeping, far more, it's much more frequent. You know what the left-wing violence is? It is terrorism. It is, by definition, terrorism. And this is why I love the statement by Kristi Noem. Engaging in those kind of acts, these kind of protests, is absolutely terrorism. And by the way, one of the authors and a Pulitzer Prize winner of the 1619 Project said that the destruction of property that can be rebuilt or bought again is not violence. So when you hear left-wing people argue that the right is more violent than the left, the reason they say that is because they don't even count the destruction of property as violence. But then you really ask them, okay, well then what was the violence of January 6th? And they'll say, there are people who are convicted of violent crimes. A lot of that, was breaking and entering. A lot of people were trespassed. Most of them stayed outside. But nonetheless, and look, I'm not here to be the biggest, January 6th advocate. I think it was very foolish. And I think, there's kind of a point there where it's like, you get to the Capitol just to prove it's not an insurrection. You get to the Capitol and what are people doing? It's like they're twiddling their thumbs. They have no clue. There's not a plan to take over the government. It was not organized. It was not planned and rehearsed. They didn't build a, mock capital in order to do these training runs. That did absolutely not occur. But we now as a country are at the point where the left doesn't even realize and recognize that they are engaging in terrorism. And let me read you the definition, by the way, of terrorism, and then let me cite a couple of examples of things that have happened only in the last 6 months that absolutely qualify as such, but are often left unincluded in the literature concerning right and left-wing violence. Terrorism. Hold on. My bad. There you go. Terrorism is generally defined as the unlawful use of violence or the threat of violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political, social, ideological, or religious objectives. What qualifies as terrorism? The assassination of Charlie Kirk, absolutely to produce a chilling effect on civilian populations, to shut down speech with an ideological aim. The assassination of Luigi, or the assassination by Luigi Mangione of the healthcare secretary. Another one. Totally ideological, meant to produce a chilling effect. He, had all kinds of ideological messaging, both on his bullets, manifestos, to some extent, the murder of the children at the Catholic school just a couple months ago by a transgender shooter. This is terrorism as well. But what are the things that are never included, by the way, in the research that goes into right versus left-wing violence? The burning and bombing of Tesla vehicles in front of even Trump buildings. You don't think that's terrorism? You don't think lighting cars on fire that represent something, that represent an ideology, is terrorism? You don't think that had a chilling effect on people? Did you see the way that Tesla stock drops? Did you see how many people had to say, no, I'm a liberal. Don't ruin my Tesla. Don't explode my Tesla, please. I am a liberal. I bought it before Elon Musk, said whatever on Twitter. Before Grok was posting pornography on Twitter. That's when I bought the Tesla. What else produces a chilling effect? Attacks on ICE agents. Firebombing, border patrol. What was it? Like a border patrol station in July. Firebombing it produces a chilling effect. These people aren't even deporting anybody. It's just their job. They're literally just doing their job. Attempting to assassinate the Secretary of Finance. All of this produces a chilling effect. All of this is terrorism. It incites a feeling of fear and terror in a civilian population to discourage them from certain ideological dispositions. That is terrorism, and it's often unincluded. And you want to talk to me about attacks on democracy, by the way? Oh, you think the rule of law is important? Who enforces the law? The police do. Who enforces the immigration law? ICE does. Border Patrol does. You're impeding them. You are stopping them from carrying out their duty. You cannot have a moral country if you don't enforce your laws. You simply can't. And we're in a sucky situation. I know it sucks to see friends and neighbors deported. It would be a lot easier if we weren't in this mess in the first place. Had we not allowed our borders to be freely crossed for decades, and certainly for the last 4 years. If we had not allowed that, we wouldn't be in the same pickle that we're in right now. You don't like the separation of families? Neither do I. But it becomes much more difficult when you give birthright citizenship to the child of 2 illegal immigrants. Then what are you going to do? You have to choose between doing something mean, but enforcing your laws, or not enforcing your laws and being the nice guy. And either way, it's not going to be fun. But I believe that in order to be a moral country, you have to enforce your laws. If you don't, why are they there? And we're not talking about symbolic laws. We're not talking about, the laws against sodomy that were used to shut down bathhouses. We're not talking about anything like that, anything abstract or symbolic. We're talking about, literally who is an American citizen, and if people broke the laws to get into the country, what should we do with them? And we have law in the books about that. And we are an unserious country if we can't actually enforce the laws on the books. The other thing, we seem to be an unserious country when people think that they can just stand in front of police officers trying to do their job. How do you think that would look if somebody stood in front of a firefighter? It's I know it's not the same thing, but it's this idea. You have a public servant doing their job that they are obligated to do, that they have trained to do, And what, are you going to protest that? You can't. You cannot do that. That is illegal. That is obstruction. That is a crime. If you push your car in front of ICE agents so that they cannot pass through, and again, we're missing a little bit of the context of the first couple minutes of the video, but it has been said on video by those who were there that she was attempting to obstruct them, attempting to stop them, then you cannot just expect to be let go, especially when then they attempt to detain you. You don't get to just say, no, this isn't fun anymore, I'm out of here. And you want to talk about, sorry, now that I'm on a roll, you want to talk about more attacks on democracy. In the 1970s, the Weather Underground and the Black Panthers were bombing state capitol buildings. And the way we talk about January 6th is compared to 9/11, even though these kind of things have been happening for the last couple decades. And again, this is not to say, well, if the other exists, then the prior is fine. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it is not the only case of the obstruction of a democratic process. So anyway, that bugs me so much. And it really does make you think, Hawkeye mentions this in the chat. It really does make you think, look, we can, in the middle of the night, take the Delta Squad, the Delta Force, whatever they're called, over to a foreign country, over to Venezuela, and take their president and put him in U.S. courts, sit him down in jail and say, you have now been served, my friend. This indictment that has been out for years now, boom, the rubber meets the road. You're on American soil now. You're getting what's coming to you. We can do that in a couple of hours. But in this country, we cannot even enforce our laws. That's a problem, dude. That's a huge issue. But it's only getting worse. And this is kind of the unfortunate thing with this situation in particular. I think it's overwhelmingly clear that this woman did not set out to run over anybody. You look at the video, and this is what I hated. I'll mention this in a second. It seems overwhelmingly clear that the woman did not set out to hit a cop. Yes, she set out to obstruct them. It was totally legitimate that she should have been detained for that. There were no errors made there. And then she, attempting to flee, recklessly accelerated her car first backwards, then forwards, while police officers were standing in front of it. And what is that? What is that a parallel to? The closest parallel you could think of within our public discourse, the closest thing you could think of within the public discourse is running over protesters when they block the roads. Running over peaceful protesters blocking roads, right? So, okay. If you're in Minnesota and you want to examine case law, and I haven't done this myself, but I'm speaking, off the dome, and I think my logic makes sense. You take a state like Texas instead, dude, it's power to the players. Whoever's in the car running over protesters, you have pretty good legal immunity, from what I understand. From what I understand, if you're in Texas and you run over some protesters because they're blocking the road, you're probably pretty fine. Like, nothing terrible is going to happen to you. You're in Minnesota, you want to examine the case law there about running people over in your car? I don't think it's going to go well for you. I think the person sitting behind the wheel that time is going to be seen pretty poorly in the eyes of the law. And that's what that's what these ICE agents are going to be judged on. They're going to be judged by, if I'm not mistaken, the state law, right? But then you have to look as well about all of the case law that seems to exist. And what it seems to indicate is that when there is a person who is pretty reasonably threatening an individual's life with a vehicle, the vehicle is perceived as a weapon. This is a 2,000 pound, like this 2-ton heap of metal. And somebody is using it and accelerating it to endanger you. Whether that's their intent or not, you feel a reasonable amount of fear, and thereby a use of force, even deadly, is pretty easily justifiable. And again, we are the bystanders. We have the advantage of 12 different camera angles, of a dozen different ways of approaching the situation. And now we're getting this information overload where everybody is saying everything about this case. At the end of the day, what it is, and I love the way that somebody put this, I don't know if this is a phrase that's frequently repeated, but what it is lawful and awful. Or lawful but awful. Was he justified probably in his use of force? Yeah, I think so. If I'm a cop in that situation, I don't know what this woman is doing. She's driving her car away, but I'm in front of her, and she doesn't seem to care about the fact that she could be running me over, and I have to jump out of the way of the vehicle. I think that I could reasonably perceive a threat there. And I think that he's probably going to be seen as justified in his use of force. And all of us, we can analyze it from a ton of different angles, but we weren't there standing in front of the 2,000-pound car that was accelerating. We were not there in the heat of the moment. We don't know exactly what we would have done. So this is, let me just make sure that I haven't done anything terrible, that I haven't perjured myself. Got my legal experts on the line. They're going to keep me in line. Now let me grab some water real quick. Oh, bro. That's not good. Sorry, guys. We just got a breaking story as well. There was a shooting at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in Utah near Redwood Road. Bruh. There was a funeral taking place at the meeting house, and an altercation reportedly broke out, leading to shots being fired. At least 8 victims, 2 of which died as a result of their injuries. As if the day couldn't get any better. That's terrible. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of people who live in that area, so I hope none of them were affected. That's really bad. It doesn't look like it was anything like Grand Blanche, Michigan, but because there was an altercation, it doesn't look like it was targeted, at least from what I'm reading, but still very terrible. So please pray for those families, genuinely. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, sorry to totally distract. That just came across my desk, and super, super sad. But yeah, anyway, to the Minneapolis issue, you add on top of that, let's say you're an ICE agent, you're an ICE officer, and you have already, and I think Kristi Noem even claimed this, that he had been hit a couple months prior. There are plenty of cases of ICE literally being physically fought. Not just like a silent or a peaceful protest, no, like physically being pushed away from doing their jobs. There are cases where people are ramming their vehicles into ICE agents. There were shooters that attempted to kill ICE and Border Patrol agents and ended up shooting detainees. I mean, if you're an ICE agent, you know all of that. Tensions are high. The freaking mayor and governor of Minnesota think you're an arm of a fascist state and are saying that it's going to lead to violence. You're on edge. All of this goes into your calculus when you are in that moment. All of it goes into the way you're calculating your actions. And I think it can significantly shape the way that you feel you need to respond to certain dangers and threats, even if they are not in their intent meant to be taking you out. There was really just no way for the woman to get away without hitting somebody, and she didn't seem to mind that people were in the way. She probably hoped they would jump out of the way, but she was reckless in her fleeing and unlawful in doing so, and it, made a bad situation worse. So that's kind of my take on it. But what, and now I'll tell you what I got into hot water for saying. This was crazy. Here's what I said, because there was a post by Mike Cernovich, and this really frustrated me. This actually really bothered me. I thank you, Mike Cernovich, for unblocking me and for thanks for unblocking me and for following me on X, but this was a super dumb tweet, not gonna lie. Well, and let's give this a look-see. Let's give this a look-see, everybody. All right. Here it is. Regarding the ICE shooting, the image on the left would have been the media narrative without X. It would have dominated every news network. By the time we would have been able to debunk it, the hands up, don't shoot lie would have spread. With X, the media loses its power. The media lies lose power. Okay, so these are tweets that he stole from somebody else. Anyway, here's the photo. This is these are the police, and this is the photo that was taken, and people were claiming that the officer was not threatened by the vehicle, which isn't true. This photo is deceptive. That is the case. Now, this is the photo that he says, boom, this is proof. Third cop is the shooter. She turned her wheels right at him and accelerated. And you think that this is the case because if you zoom in, oh, I guess I can't. Let me pull this up in a new tab. There we go. If you zoom in, guys, what do we see down here? Oh, the wheels, they're turned to the officer who's right back there. The issue is, in this photo, in this still, she's not accelerating forward. And I don't want to play like this whole defense of her because, like I said, she was obstructing justice, obstructing police, and that's the reason this whole situation blew up, right? Or we have at least reasonable evidence to assume that that is the case. But you look at this. Look at the lights. These may not be backup lights. I think I originally claimed they were backup lights. They could be brake lights. Either way, she was in reverse, which is why her wheels are pointed in that direction. And then she puts the car into drive and turns the wheels, by the looks of things, all the way right. I don't know if I'm allowed to show the video. That's the only reason that I hesitate to do so. I don't want the stream taken down. But this claim is stupid. And it's like, look, with the facts of the case, you don't have to lie. You don't have to say that in this photo she has her wheels turned towards the guy because she's looking to kill him. That's not what was happening. And maybe I'm the autist because I'm obsessing about this, and this is maybe a trivial detail, but this is just stupid. And when I see somebody like Mike Cernovich post it, I'm like, look, dude, we look like a bunch of buffoons when we take a situation that is already pretty clearly on its face a justified use of force, and we start claiming things like she tried, like she intentionally sought to kill him. That simply it doesn't seem to be the case. It really does not seem to be the case. And again, this is not to say that, she's an angel and has done nothing wrong. Again, I think this use of force was largely justified. Although it was a tragedy, I think it is largely justified. Still, you don't have to post garbage like this that just simply isn't true. And so I said that. I said, where is this? I said, this is stupid. Obviously, the woman should have listened to the ICE agent, stopped blocking the road, stepped out of the vehicle, but it does not appear her intent was to hit the agent. This screenshot literally shows her with backup lights on. And admittedly, I think that left a lot of it up to interpretation, but this is why replies exist, right, guys? So there I say, quote, she turned her wheels right at him. This is my clarifying. She turned her wheels right at him and accelerated. Yeah, sure, she accelerated backwards, lol. That's why the backup lights are on. Not to mention, in the video, she turns her wheels right as she drives away. I think the cop is probably justified, but let's just not post dumb takes. I think it's most likely that she was just trying to escape. Her hitting an agent was likely the result of recklessness in attempting to do so, which she didn't see as an issue, and that's still a big problem. Boom. That is honestly a super legit take. Oh, but here we go. If it doesn't, and it's the usual suspects. It doesn't appear she intended to hit the agent as she ignored his lawful orders and accelerated her vehicle into him. Have you ever been pulled over at a traffic stop and thought, wow, I should try to escape by driving at law enforcement? Are you retarded? Hey, dude, this sentence right here, it's actually in my original tweet. You know that sentence about, wow, I should try to escape this by driving at law enforcement? It's very interesting because it almost sounds like she should have listened to ICE agents, stopped blocking the road, and stepped out of the vehicle. Or am I hearing things? Am I tweaking? Or are you guys tweaking? What are we? Lordy. Am I freaking crazy? And then, yeah, dude, look. I say this. I say, and where was it? Bruh. Media Right News. Yes, yeah. Did they unfollow me? Oh no, they still follow me. Who is that guy even? Dude, I follow all these people, bro. I gotta unfollow people. On Instagram, I follow like 3,000 people. Intent is the key word. Yeah, exactly. It's the difference. Look, it's the difference between like reckless endangerment and like first-degree murder, like meditated, intentional, I'm looking to hurt you. In which case, by the way, if that was her intent, why did she turn her wheels all the way to the right? She could have kept them exactly as they're oriented here in the photo and just driven forward and would have been much more successful because the cop was in the middle of the car. But she turned her wheels all the way to the right. That's what I'm saying is the difference. It does not appear that this was a person that got up and sought to go run over an ICE agent. It looks like this is reckless endangerment. The vehicle is used then as a bludgeon or a weapon that can convey justifiable or that can promote or at least, you know, reasonably support a justifiable use of deadly force, and boom. That's the case. But I need every single red-pilled guy ever in my comments telling me stuff I already know. You're not more red-pilled than I am, dude. Oh my gosh. Yes, he is. Oh, dude, these people, these kind of people, you should be in jail. Yes, he is. Leftists are that dumb and ignorant, dude. Are you serious right now? Are we serious right now, my brother? Are we serious right now, capital A Nafi Centennial? Are we serious right now, dude? You think I'm a leftist? And this is the issue. This actually, you know what? You know what, guys? You know what, guys? This actually proves my point. This proves my point, dude. I'm actually riled up about this. You want to know the point that I was making in the original tweet? My original tweet meant to make the point that MAGA is retarded. You guys say a bunch of stuff that you don't need to be saying. The situation is what it is. There's a justifiable use of force, and the woman at every single point should have obeyed law enforcement. She didn't obey law enforcement, but it doesn't seem that she was set out on killing people, because if that was her intent, she would have kept her wheels straight and just driven forward. That's not what she did. She tried to flee, which is also, yes, a crime. She's avoiding the detention. Absolutely, that's a problem. But you're here sitting trying to make this take about, oh, well, you actually don't get it. Why are you defending her? I'm not defending her, dude. I'm just trying to make us, I'm trying to save face. I'm trying to make sure that we don't look stupid by claiming stuff that's easily debunkable. And yet we have this guy, capital A, Nafi Centennial, who is proving my point because he can't even do me the justice of looking at my actual, my feed. He can't even click on my profile. He cannot take 5 seconds to click on my profile, read any of my tweets, and will just assume that I'm a leftist because he cannot think, because he is incapable of thinking critically. I'm sorry, I'm going off a little bit. But that's the problem. How many times, and this has happened to me in the last week, a billion times, dude. How many times do you get an MFA? You'll give a take that is not literally giving a back massage to some right-wing ideological idea that could in some aspect be completely wrong. And what are people going to call you? They're going to call you a leftist. Well, what are we calling them? I'm calling them uneducated, irresponsible, anti-intellectual. And what are they proving themselves to be? Anti-intellectual. They're proving themselves to be completely incapable of a single minute of research. And that's my problem. And that's my problem. So I think that's what it is. That's what bugged me. That's the reason I felt, and look, in hindsight, did I really need to make this tweet? No. Was it just me trying to prove that a lot of people were, posting dumb takes? Yes. Is it really going to change anything about this case? No. Are people now going to probably think that I have a take that I don't take or that I don't have about this issue? Yes. So was it a net positive? Definitely not. But what am I? I'm vindicated. I am vindicated because of people like freaking capital A Nafi Centennial who proved my point that you can't even do a minute of research to find out that some of the things that you see on Instagram or Twitter are simply not what they're made out to be. You're just going to assume I'm a leftist. And then this, I guess now the standard of self-defense is you must be in reasonable fear of great bodily harm and read the other person's mind to know if they actually mean to cause harm. If they don't mean harm, you need to let him run over you with an SUV. When did I say that, dude? Literally, in what moment did I say he just should have let her run over him with the SUV? He shouldn't have done anything. I didn't even say that. I did not make a single claim. In fact, in the reply, I say he's probably justified in his use of force. But you have people here. I don't know. These are just random people on Twitter. I should probably not be so riled up about it. But it's you have these people who need to just have their freedom of speech severely restricted. limited until they can show that they are deserving of it. Fewer people should vote. Fewer people should vote. So anyway, that's the take. That's my bad. I got baited. I got totally baited. Brittany, we saw that. We saw that. I wonder if there's any more news out about it. The shooting at the LDS church. Oh, you guys can still see. Welcome to Intuit TurboTax. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know. This is like, and the thing that bothers me, right, is that there are people who just see this as based. There are people who are so Twitter-minded, that are so Twitter-brained, that are so stuck in partisan politics, that they see something like this. What's this going to do? You know, let's talk about it. What's this going to produce? It's going to produce protests, the destruction of property. It's going to escalate conflicts between law enforcement and civilians, who are going to then feel even more justified in using more violent means to oppose the fascist arm of the fascist government, which is ICE and Border Patrol. They are going to be galvanized. They are going to be inspired. They are going to see her as a martyr. And what are they going to do? They're going to oppose ICE and Border Patrol even more so until we get to the point where the National Guard is being sent out, or at least, you know, state troopers or whatever, what have you, are going to be sent out by the mayor and by Tim Walz, and they're going to directly oppose the president of the United States of America. And you know what happens then? The country collapses. The thing that is so shocking about this is you look at the neighborhood. You look at the neighborhood that they're in. This is a normal, nice neighborhood. There's snow on the street. This is a beautiful winter day, and you have chaos. You look around at what has happened to this country, and you see that there is absolute chaos. And I don't think the right wing is responsible. Again, we got into that at the beginning. All of these issues have been caused by left-wing policies that have allowed our country to be eroded, both its civic institutions and its character. But the issue is, everybody is like cheering this on. Not everybody, but a large contingent of the right wing is just like based. FAFO, based. Dude, this doesn't get better. No matter how justified it was, it doesn't look good to people. This shooting looks really bad to people. The deportations are not even terribly effective. The numbers aren't even that high. And you look at it from a cost-benefit analysis. By the way, I am not saying that you cease the deportations. That's the opposite of what I'm saying. But you have to examine the optics of how you do it. And the cost-benefit analysis right now just doesn't stack up whatsoever. The cost-benefit analysis is like, look, we get to deport one person, and what did it cost us? A PR disaster that is going to turn the entire state of Minnesota even more against us. That is going to radicalize people all across the country to violently oppose ICE the way they did in LA when they were throwing rocks at cop cars. You know what we had to do in Salt Lake during the BLM riots? And this is in Salt Lake, dude, which is admittedly a very activist city. You know what we had to do? We had to give them a cop car to flip over and light on fire. And all the while, they're burning the American flags. That's a problem. You cannot allow that amount of lawlessness to occur in your country. You simply can't. The issue is so much of the time that we have had this last year has been spent posting edits and not actually deporting people. That's the problem. The problem is that we are making excuses for why we're not actually going to go after the industries of agriculture and hospitality, and all the while we're posting edits of kicking Abuela out of the country. This crying old lady. That's not an optics win. It might play well with the base. It's terrible with the rest of America. People do not want to see deportations. They want to have them, but they don't want to see them. And there is an amount of commitment that you have to have. You have to be, in some aspects, an ideologue. You have to be a true believer in order to make these things work. And I just don't think right now a lot of people in our government have the stones to do that. Homan, I think he's got the stones. And yeah, by the way, High Rise is right. The left is totally on top of it with the rhetoric about ICE. These are masked fascists, and they kill people, and they just murdered a girl in cold blood. You have congressmen saying that. You have Ilhan Omar, AOC. You have them already talking about how this was just a cold-blooded murder. It doesn't take It doesn't take a genius to see where this is heading. And what this is heading to is a completely bifurcated society or bifurcated nation where you have the Republican federal government and literally war being declared on it by every single Democratic state, which is going to say, if you send your police into our states, into our cities, we'll arrest them. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a complete rejection of the executive authority in the country. And that's a huge problem. And that is a huge problem. So I think people are super naive about the effect that this is going to have on escalating tensions in the country. We're already seeing attacks on ICE. So I think a lot of the people talking about this on Twitter, it is very juvenile. It is very juvenile because there's absolutely no understanding of the kind of ramifications this kind of stuff has. So anyway, that's the Minnesota shooting situation. We're gonna see if there's any news on this shooting in Utah. Please, if you'd like to support the show, go to powerchat.live/kaiclips. Feel free to subscribe, YouTube, Rumble. We'll continue covering everything that's happening, the escalating situations. I think this country's really headed off a cliff. I think this is going to be this is going to be the counterweight. And by the way, you want to find a great way of distracting from the story of the Somalian fraud? Here it is. You want everybody to forget about Somalian fraud? Here it is. That reminds me, by the way. Oh, and dude, if DHS makes an edit of this, dude, it's just over. I'm throwing myself out a window. It's such tone deafness, and it is cruel. It is genuinely cruel. It's like, by all accounts, this woman didn't have to die. This woman did not have to die. And I'm not saying, I feel like I have to be super, super clear. I am not saying that the use of force was unjustified. I'm simply saying she did not have to die. And it is sad that she did. It is sad that the circumstance or the situation created such a necessity or such a perception thereof. So, and that is rough. That should be our rhetoric about this. The rhetoric should be, look, we don't like child separation either. We don't want children separated from parents, but the best we can do is put them together and send them. We don't want to separate them, but you guys have made that a difficult decision for us because we extend birthright citizenship to the children of two illegal immigrants. And so what are you going to tell them? You're going to talk to your kid and you're going to say, hey, we came here illegally, but you're a citizen. You're going to have to choose to stay here or come with us. We don't want to split you guys up, but we do have to enforce our laws. There's no two ways about it. I'm sorry. You can't live in an orderly society without enforcing your laws. And that means, by the way, and I am in favor of this, you do need to send in the National Guard. You do need to send in ICE. Like, I'm actually in favor of that. But you should be maybe a little bit more discreet about it. And you should be much more efficient. You should practice and exercise more prudence. There needs to be more prudence in these situations. Because again, the cost-benefit analysis is just not there. You're telling me we're going to get the left so riled up for like 500 deportations, 300 deportations daily? That's not worth it, dude. You have to figure out a way to do it without literally dooming us. And by the way, yeah, Tim Walz is talking about, where is this? Hold on. We're going to pull this up because this was just crazy. This was just nuts. Let's quote that, or let's pull this up. This is from The Hill. Walz issues warning order to Minnesota National Guard after fatal ICE shooting. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said that he has issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard after a woman was fatally shot by an immigration custom enforcement officer in Minneapolis on Wednesday morning. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state, Walz said, at a Wednesday press conference. We won't let them tear us apart. We will not turn against each other. Minnesota National Guard Joint Staff Director Simon Schaefer said the state's guard consists of 13,000 soldiers and airmen, and that the guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. In response to the governor's warning order, Schaefer said the agency has begun preparations in the event that the guard is activated, including equipment checks and notifying service members. To Minnesotans on the National Guard, they are there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights, Waltz said. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They are not here to cause hassles to you or what we saw today, the tragedy. You think this country goes in any kind of positive direction when you have the National Guard and ICE standing on opposite sides of a road, both heavily armed with rioters in the middle? You think that goes well? That's crazy. This from Tim Waltz is insane. This is a problem. And both the left and the right don't understand how they're escalating this. And this is why I'm giving the take that I'm giving. There has to be some attempt to de-escalate. There genuinely does have to be some attempt to de-escalate. And look, you don't have to say, no, it was a terrible shooting. There was no good thing about it. No, that's not de-escalating. That's lying. But you know what's also lying? Saying that this woman was probably like an evil Antifa member that was there to kill cops. That wasn't what she was there for. And both of these sides saying these stupid things that are just not true. One about ICE agents being these fascist arms of a fascist state. Two, this woman being an evil Antifa member there to kill cops. Both of these people are only escalating the situation more, and you're going to get to this point. Tim Waltz is going to nationalize, or he is going to mobilize the National Guard, and they are going to get in this head-to-head confrontation with the President of the United States. You want to talk about the worst thing that could happen in this country? There you go. This is like a nightmare scenario. This is terrible. And for what? Again, for what? For less than 1 million deportations? What number are we at? I know they say 2 million. I don't believe that number. I think that's food to the base. I genuinely do. I hope it's real, but I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. Yeah, that is seditious, is what that is. What's the definition of sedition? Let's read it out. Sedition is overt conduct, such as speech or organization that tends towards rebellion against the established order. Jacob Frey, and maybe this is ramping up, but I think this is true. I'm calling it as I see it. I think Jacob Frey and Tim Waltz are probably guilty of sedition, is what this looks like. The left is very much guilty of terrorism, but you need to be able, when the case allows for it, like this one does, you have to be able to give some kind of reasonable take on it that does not further escalate tensions the way that it has. Because now, the statement's being made, it's a head-to-head battle. It is literally going to come to a confrontation, and I think the chances are slim that it ends not violently. Especially if you're talking about Minnesota, dude. It's all the way back to the beginning, dude. You're telling me we're going to have a showdown between the National Guard and ICE in Minnesota? That entire place is going to be burned to the ground. There's not a chance anybody survives. It's going to look like Fallout, dude. You're telling me the confrontation between the president and the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis is going to happen in Minneapolis? Dude, nobody gets out of there alive. We saw what Black Lives Matter did to Minnesota and to Minneapolis. You think this gets any better? You already have people in Minnesota breaking into the state courthouse. It's like, this is already starting. And people just don't seem to see it. And they don't care about de-escalating it because it's fun to get dunked on Twitter. Or it's fun to dunk on people on Twitter. That's literally what it is. They don't care. For them, it literally is. And I hate that argument. I hate this argument of like, they're just doing it for likes and for clicks. I think a lot of people don't. But genuinely, I think they do it for the attention and for the likes. I genuinely think so. You know, to throw good faith so far away. And I'm right-wing, dude. I've been right-wing for 6 years. I've been a straight shooter. I've been ideologically consistent. I have not wavered from my positions that I have had since I was a teen in high school, dude. Just getting started about this. What was the first political opinion I ever had? I was against the death penalty. I stand by that. And we've talked about it on the show months back. We talked about that on the show. People may disagree with me, but you can look at what I was debating in high school and you know that I'm consistent. And yet when I go out and I make my best attempt to be honest about a situation, I get these MFers just interested in the dunk in my replies. And I will say, as a total aside, this guy, you guys see this guy Liban Mohammed running for Utah's 1st congressional district? Do you guys see this? Let me show you guys. This is actually kind of crazy. Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Boom. Okay. Not to glaze. Not to glaze, guys. And actually, I don't know the full extent of the situation, so I'm hesitant to say a thing. But here's a tweet from JD Vance. So Rob says, okay, this angle settles it. And we'll show this. We'll show this. Hold on. I'm going to throw on my headphones. I think this is far enough. It's not going to get the video taken down. I want you guys to see at least the point of impact, right? And that's where it ends up running into the other cars. We'll go back. This is... There you see the vehicle and how it hits the cop. Well, dude, honestly, it's like... I'm going to be honest, I don't think this angle settles it. Yeah, no, it looks like he's hit there. It looks like he's hit there and jumps out of the way. I don't know, though. It's actually much more difficult to tell than I originally thought. Because I've seen that video before, but... Yeah. Anyway, so there's the video. So Rob says, okay, this angle settles it. She actually makes contact with the officer in front of the vehicle. You can hate ICE, but this angle is definitive. He fired in self-defense after she made frontal contact. And then JD Vance says, correct, you can accept that this woman's death is a tragedy while acknowledging it's a tragedy of her own making. That's basically my take. That is basically my take. Don't illegally interfere in federal law enforcement operations and try to run over our officers with your car. It's really that simple. Maybe the rhetorical framing there I'd change a little bit and endanger the lives of our officers or something to that degree. I'm not going to nitpick. I'm not going to nitpick. But yeah, this is generally, I like that. I like that statement. Not to hype up JD Vance, but yeah. Anyways. All right, now let's see if I can pull you guys up this Liban Mohammed. This is the guy running in Utah for our first. The shooting was a drive-by. Really? Is that real? If that's real, because that'd be interesting, because the initial reporting was like what I read. The initial reporting was that it was like an altercation at a funeral. Let's see what we have. And then after this we'll jump into the super chats. So if you want to send them in now. powerchat.live/kaiclips. And I'll read over all your comments, all the kind words. Yeah, here it is. 2 people were killed and 8 injured after a shooting at a funeral outside Salt Lake City Church on Wednesday night. Of the 8 injured, 3 are in critical condition. No suspects are in custody. Dude, this is terrible. Breaking story, so we still don't know much. Some reported that 2 are dead, though. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to keep tabs on that. Anyway, here you guys go. This is Liban Mohammed, who is running to be a representative from the state of Utah in the House of Representatives. Here we go. Utah leads the nation in charitable giving. Yeah, our leaders... Who's doing the giving, by the way? Let's be honest. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Let's be honest. The reason we lead the nation in charitable giving is because of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Just saying.
Take us for granted. For far too many Utahns, the American dream is slipping away.
I'm going to be honest. I like the double-breasted suit. That's a bold choice, Mr. Muhammad. That is a bold choice.
Wait.
Oh, you can't see? Freak, dude. Freak. Okay, guys, sorry. Or rewatch.
Utah leads the nation in charitable giving. Yet our leaders take us for granted. For far too many Utahns.
I like the double-breasted suit. I can't lie. I'll be honest. Bold choice. I like the idea of bringing him back,
The American dream is slipping away. Corporations are pricing us out of our own homes. Raising a family is more expensive than ever. And even though we spend more money on healthcare than any nation on earth, nearly 300,000 Utahns are left without health coverage. But together, we can change this.
Where are you living? Come help me.
And that's why I'm running for Congress. We will fight for universal child
in Utah.
healthcare, so no parent has to choose between their child and their career.
That's a cute
We will build
kid.
housing that's actually affordable.
Wait, is that his wife?
And restrict corporations.
She looks Mormon. She has Mormon physiognomy. I don't know if he's a member. Something tells me no. Something tells me that definitely not a Republican? What do you mean he's not a Republican? What do you mean he's not a Republican? You think this guy's not a Republican? Get the flip out of here. You're a racist.
Over our neighborhoods.
Yeah, he's not a Republican.
Health care as a human right that it is. Full coverage for every American at a lower cost for our families. Politicians love to say we can't afford any of this. All the while they're funding genocide and giving billionaires tax breaks.
That's an Israel reference. That's an Israel reference.
We already showed the world what service and care looks like. It's time we get a government that does the same. My name is Liban Mohammed, and I'm running for Congress.
It's our time to lead. Getting more live viewers than iDubbbz, is that real? That would be hilarious. That would be so funny. No, but yeah, so this is your new potential guy who's going to be elected in the state of Utah because of Prop 4, which passed in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, the changing, which is completely unconstitutional, by the way, of the way that the districts limits are drawn in the state of Utah, has made a plus 20-something Kamala Harris district in the heart of Utah in Salt Lake City, which is likely to elect probably the most radical candidate that they are able to find. So that's the situation. That is the situation. And look, it's between him or the other guy. Where is it? Nate Bluin. This guy right here. Here's Nate Bluin. This is the other guy that's running. He's been endorsed by Bernie Sanders. If I had to put my bet on anybody, my money on any guy, it's probably him. I think Nate Bluin's going to win it. Ben McAdams is also running. He's more of a moderate Democrat, they say. He's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they say.
Heard it my whole life.
He supports abortion, though, which is a little ironic. Anyway, we'll keep watching.
All working people do. Well, I'm done dealing. Big corporations, billionaires, and Donald Trump have rigged the game for too long, and everyday Utahns are losing. When I was 19, I packed up my Honda Civic and I headed west. I ended up here in Utah. There were cheap rooms to rent, and you could be up on top of Little Cottonwood Canyon in just a few minutes flat. Then student debt piled up.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I hate ski slop. I hate ski slop, dude. I'm sorry. I've skied. I like it. Skiing's cool. It's a white dude sport. I'm a fan, but I hate this ski bro slop, dude. It's the new hippies.
A couple surgeries and medical bills I couldn't pay. SNAP benefits helped me put food on the table when times were tough. That's not just my story. It's a reality for too many. And as Utah gets more expensive, it's only getting worse. That's why I stepped up to serve my community in the first place.
By the way, what's this guy's resume? He was on SNAP benefits. He was unemployed. He ran for Congress. That's like his resume. You know, I miss the days. I miss the days when you truly had qualified candidates. And look, I know we're not huge fans of him, but Mitt Romney, besides being a handsome, charismatic, Patrick Bateman-esque charming son of a gun, besides being hilarious actually and genuinely so, like he doesn't have to fake his funniness, he genuinely is funny and charismatic. He has a crazy good resume. His resume when he ran for president was stacked. I kind of miss those days. I kind of miss the days when we could have stacked candidates with real good resumes. But we'll keep watching.
I'm not afraid to take on the establishment. I ran against a 36-year incumbent from my own party who had a track record of cutting bad deals with Republicans, and I beat him by 50 points. Since I took office, I fought tooth and nail for the people I represent. Republican leaders have cut off my mic and called me a punk for speaking.
Based. They cut off his mic because he started making a campaign speech, by the way. They cut off his mic because he literally wasn't responding to what was being addressed in the state Senate. They literally just cut him off because he wasn't responding to anything and he was just trying to make a campaign speech and get clips. He was literally clip farming on the floor of the Senate, and that's why he got cut off, and he's mad about it. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Nate Bluin. You got cut off because you were giving a stupid stump speech and you got called a punk, and that doesn't make you cool, actually.
Truth to power. And you know what? I'm proud of that. I'm Nate Bluin. I'm a Democrat running for Congress in Utah's 1st Congressional District to take on big corporations and the billionaire class, to make housing and energy more affordable, to fight for Medicare for all, to protect our public lands, and to build a future for us, not for them. I'm running to stop Trump and his Republican
We're not building their future. We don't want them to have a future, is what he's saying. You hear that? Read between the lines, Anon. Read between the lines. We're going to destroy them and they will never have a future. That's what he's saying.
For us, not for them. I'm running to stop Trump and his Republican enablers who represent Utah in Congress. You're never going to wonder where I stand on tough issues like abortion because I'll tell you. We're going to take back the House and codify Roe.
He wants to codify Roe v. Wade, dude. That's all you need to know. This guy, I kid you not, I think this guy's going to win.
Trust me, the same folks who got us into this
I need to look at
are
the
not going to
polling.
be the ones to get us out of it. It's up to us. If you're sick of the same rigged game, if you're done just dealing with it, I hope you'll join us.
Where he's shooting this video is not far at all from where I live. Or from where I used to live. There you go. Nate Bluin, Democrat for Congress. So, yeah, wonderful. Wonderful, isn't it? This is the state of Utah politics, folks. Welcome to Utah politics. But yeah, let's jump in just a second to our super chats. Let's read through first. Right before we jump to the super chats, let's read through. And here's this, by the way. Ice, Get the F Out of Minneapolis by Jacob Frey.
Ice, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Sorry about the swear word. This is an elected official. He should be removed from office for saying swear words, dude. I don't care. I do not care if you are a Republican, if you are a Democrat. If you say the F word as a politician, you need to get the F out of your elected office. You need to get, I don't know. You need to get soap put in your mouth. You need your mouth scrubbed. And there should be a 5-year just, what would we call it? A 5-year timeout before you can ever run for office again. I don't know what it is that got into these politicians' heads. It happens on the right as much as it happens on the left. I don't know what made them think that saying swear words made them so relatable, but I'm a single issue voter on if they've said swear words in public office. If you have ever given like a press conference, a statement, if you've done anything like that and said swear words, you're not a serious person. You need to leave. It's the equivalent of when they wear jeans to make themselves look like they're working class. That was Mitt Romney's greatest sin, wearing jeans. Anyway.
Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Whose fault is that, dude?
Somebody
It's your fault. You are literally hyping up people to fight against law enforcement officers.
is dead. That's on you. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get. We're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants.
People are going to want to exercise.
What bait is that? Oh, what bait is that? Attacking them? Because you guys actually already do that. Is the bait what? Like motivating you guys to get more violent and rambunctious? Because you actually already do that. Actually kind of. I think you've already literally eaten the bait. The bait's literally in your mouth right now. Literally. Pause. So what do you mean take it?
First Amendment rights, but please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction.
We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis. Let's unite around hope and love and peace.
What makes Minneapolis? The fact that every year or so, every other summer, it burns to a crisp? Is that what makes Minneapolis? Is it like record high rates of crime? Is it like a ton of businesses leaving the state because they don't know if their windows are going to be broken or not every single morning? Is that what makes Minneapolis? I just love, it's interesting when like Democrats or Republicans, when they just offer these empty platitudes. You want to ask me what makes Utah? Faith, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, civic engagement, large families, religious worship, charitable giving, high rates of literacy, humility, kindness, being chipper, being jovial. What the flip makes Minneapolis? The fact that you guys practice slash and burn agriculture on your entire city? Is that what? And the issue is, usually when you do the slash and burn, usually the crops grow back. But in Minneapolis, the businesses don't. They do not come back. They leave. Being hopeful? Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Anyway. So, yeah, we'll leave that. We're about to jump into the super chats. Let's just look at Bluin's career. Bluin received his associate's degree. Actually, you guys should see this. Bluin received his associate's degree from Salt Lake Community College and his bachelor's degree from the University of Utah. He graduated from Brown University with a Master of Public Administration. Before being elected, Bluin worked with clean energy groups and environmental organizations to promote renewable energy. Was that a job, I wonder? Political career. He announced his candidacy in 2022 for the Utah State Senate. His priorities included clean air and affordable housing. He won the primary against incumbent Gene Davis with nearly 76% of the vote. In the general election, he beat Roger L. Stout with 72% of the vote. Because he is a Republican, or because Nate Bluin is a Democrat and the other guy was a Republican. And then the incumbent, that he actually did slaughter the incumbent. I don't know what the case was there. There could have been a scandal or something. Anyway, so what's his job? He's a Democratic candidate. He's worked in the renewable energy industry and serves a variety of boards that promotes conservation and education, including the Salt Lake County Open Space Trust Fund Committee, Friends of Alta, and the Salt Lake Community College Alumni Leadership Council. So, like, what job? Like, what actual... And look, I'm unemployed. Okay, sue me. I haven't run for office yet, and I haven't lived off SNAP benefits. That's the problem, is this guy's like, I lived off of SNAP benefits, and then I got a job on like a trust fund committee and on the board, and then I ran for office, and then I lived off SNAP benefits, and then I lived off of this, then I lived off of your tax dollars, and that's my career. This is the guy running for office in Utah. Anyway. All right, guys. Let's jump into the super chats. I've yapped long enough. I've yapped long enough, and we've got a lot of super chats to get through, so we will start. Out of touch is a full-time commitment. Truth? All righty. I think they're all going to come in at once. Again, we got to... Dude, I got to figure out how to do this. I got to figure out how to operate this freaking thing. Let me see if I can adjust it. Hold on. I think it works. Here is from yesterday. Huge super chat by Irish Madness. He sent this in off stream. Sent it in off stream. What the heck are you guys seeing on the side here?
Irish Madness sent $50 still LDS in the big 2026.
My apologies. I don't know why there's a
man.
thing on the side.
Having your own planet sounds cool and stuff, but let's be so for real. God was once a normal dude? Like a normal human guy? Jesus does not equal God? All that being said, only L of yours I can find.
Dude,
Kiddos
this is
say
such
hi.
an L take.
Handshake
I don't know
emoji.
why people think this is an own. Yo, Blake! Thank you, friend. Thank you for the super chat, my boy. Let's go. We'll get into all of these. I'm sorry. This is going to be a minute. It has to fix itself.
At Blake Constantino on X sent $5. Kai, check this.
Oh, what is
Double
this?
Exclamation mark emoji.
Oh, what is this, bro? What is this? Anonymous, thank you for the 5. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, we didn't even address that. We didn't even address Nate. That kid has moves, Bluin. We did not even address that.
Anonymous sent $5. Didn't Nate Bluin say, that kid has moves?
All right, let's see this. Let's see this. Let's see this. Hold on. We got to pull that up. That's the craziest thing about all this. So Nate Bluin, he's a little infamous for this tweet here. This is Nate Bluin. This is Nate Bluin responding to a video of a child dressed in drag dancing on stage in front of men, in front of grown men. That kid's got moves. That is your candidate. That is your candidate for elected office for the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Utah, who is likely to win. So, yeah. That's the lore. That's the lore. And then this is what was sent in. Let's see this. $5 super chat. Yeah, it's so quiet. I'm sorry, guys. I can't adjust it any. What's it say at the bottom?
Tonight you've touched on a bunch of issues that are particularly valued by Gen Z Republicans. One particularly I'd like to ask you, is foreign lobbying groups are a contentious issue with kids our age, whether they be college students or people going out to the workforce. So I'd like to ask if the Bezio campaign will refuse any support from foreign interest groups like APAC or any other dedicated to furthering the interests of foreign governments, not American citizens.
I would never accept donation from any sort of foreign entity or citizen. We need to put Connecticut residents first and American citizens first, not any interest of any other foreign country first. Doesn't matter what that country is. I want all countries to succeed as long as it doesn't interfere with American interests. But no, I would never take any sort of resources or support from any other foreign country or entity whatsoever.
Let's go. Good statement, good statement. Yo, Tice, thank you for the 3. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. It's not going to read it? Okay. It said, the super chat said, there's too many people out there delighting in bloodshed as long as it's based. Okay. My bad. Dude, thank you guys. Dude, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys for the support. Huge support on the stream tonight. Huge support on the stream tonight. Holy cow, seriously. You guys are killing it.
Tino's Journey sent $5 greater than promote renewable energy. Of course he does. Probably anti-nuclear energy too if he's a Green New Deal guy.
Yeah, he might be anti-nuclear. I don't know, actually, because Governor Cox is pretty pro-nuclear. It could be that, like, the Republicans in Utah just con themselves. They could just con themselves into being anti-nuclear because the Republicans are. I mean, Republicans are actually pretty climate conscious in the state of Utah, and we're trying to bring in nuclear. So it'll be very interesting. Anyway, Tice said, there's too many people out here delighting in bloodshed as long as it's based. Every day, the evidence that the Book of Mormon was written with us in mind grows. So flipping true, dude. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Book of Mormon time. Book of Mormon. It's Mormon time. Do you guys remember that? Is bro going to address the first one? I will. I promise I'm going to get to all the super chats. I promise. Anonymous, thank you for the 5, bro. You guys are too crazy tonight. You guys are too crazy tonight. I promise I'll get to all of them. I do not leave a single one uncontested. I mean, I say uncontested because contestar in Spanish means answered. I promise I'll get to all of them. Anyway, Anonymous says, is it reading it out? I don't know if it read it out. Anonymous says, is there a way to get rid of the leftist / blank radical feminist elements from Utah? I'd like them gone personally. The land was given to us by God. There is, we just have to stop interstate migration. You just have to stop immigrants from coming from California. I think that honestly is a big part of it. And then you just have to apply certain standards. Like, honestly, if we just crack down on, drugs and alcohol, I think a lot would leave. You just ban like Sunday sales of alcohol. I think that'd be a good move. And other stuff like that. I think that'd be great. Anyway, pulling up the Book of Mormon real quick, boys. And that's the Spanish one. Here we go. So in the Book of Mormon, the last couple chapters. Oh, goodness. Hey, Kino's Journey, what's going on? I was talking about Nate Bluen. Yeah, no. I know what you mean. Dude. The Nate Bluen. Ooh, that kid's got moves clip. All right, well, and we'll address Joan this clip in a second. Let's get to, this is from the Book of Mormon. In the Book of Mormon. It was written by many authors, compiled by an author and historian named Mormon. That's why it's called the Book of Mormon, because he's the one that compiled it. Within the Book of Mormon are other books that are written by other authors called the Book of Nephi, the Book of Moroni, blah, 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 blah. Towards the end of the book, within what was actually written by Mormon, there are a number of wars that occur. And Mormon describing basically what happened, and this is really sad, honestly. These chapters are super sad. He is writing basically what's happening in his land. And what's happening is that the people have abandoned God. His people, the Nephites, have abandoned God, but they are involved in a... Dude, let's flip and go. I got to figure out a way to pause the super chats. That's my apologies, guys. Well, I'm going to figure out a way to get these to pause.
Hawkeye Void sent $5. I think the frame on Frey and Walt's NG deployment is that they're trying to distract from the fraud and are going to try to start a huge conflict over one person's death, which is totally absurd.
Yep. No, I agree. 100%. I completely agree with that. That's what I said before. You want people to stop paying attention to fraud? There you go. Perfect way to get people to stop paying attention to fraud. We may even see Governor Tim Walz jump back into the mix in the election. We may even see that. Bro, spoiling the Book of Mormon? Okay. It's been out forever. It's been out for 200 years. Okay. It was written 2,000 years ago. Anyway, so Mormon he's young. He's a super young guy. He's a teen when he takes control of the armies of the Nephites. He's tall in stature. He's physically fit. He is capable, and he is one of the few that still believes in Christ, that still knows that he had come. This is, by the way, 300 years after Christ's ascension to heaven. So he knows that Christ visited, but many of, we're so many generations removed now from the actual appearance of Christ to the people in the Americas that so many of them don't even believe it anymore. They've forgotten the traditions of their fathers, which is a pretty frequent thing that happens in the Book of Mormon. But anyway, the majority of this society, which used to be the righteous society, the Nephite society, has fallen away from the straight and narrow path, or the way of the Lord. So what happens? They are engaged in a very bloody, violent conflict against their brothers, who are another civilization that is anti-Christian and actually persecutes Christians, and they are called the Nephites. Or no, the Lamanites. The Nephites are the good guys, typically, and the Lamanites are the bad guys, typically. But this time, the Nephites are fighting without any of the help of the Lord, because they have all turned away from him. So Mormon cries repentance to them, but it says, "And I did cry unto this people, but it was in vain, and they did not realize that it was the Lord that had spared them, and granted unto them a chance for repentance. And behold, they did harden their hearts against the Lord their God. And it came to pass that after the 10th year had passed away, making in the whole 360 years from the coming of Christ, the king of the Lamanites sent an epistle unto me." Dude, Anonymous, thanks for the 10. I really gotta figure these super chats out. We got these crazy interruptions, bro. But I appreciate it. Seriously, dude. I appreciate it a ton. The support on the stream has been
Anonymous
nuts.
sent $10.
Anyway, we'll keep reading. Thank you for the 10. 10 without a message. I like the messages. Unlike some people. The messages make me happy. I love riffing off of them. It's the best content there is. No, but thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And actually, let me get this video out of the background real quick so that we can make this kind of more official. Anyway, we'll keep reading. He says, "And it came to pass that I did cause my people that they should gather themselves together at the land of desolation, to a city which was in the borders by the narrow pass which led them to the land southward. And there we did place our armies, that we might stop the armies of the Lamanites, and that they might not get possession of any of our lands. Therefore we did fortify against them with all our force. And it came to pass that in the 361st year, the Lamanites did come down to the city of desolation to battle against us. And it came to pass that in that year we did beat them, insomuch that they did return to their own lands. And in the 362nd year, they did come down again to battle, and we did beat them again, and did slay a great number of them." And this is where it gets to Tice's point. I think it was Tice, right, who sent that? Who was it? Who sent that? It was Tice, right? Yeah, Tice. Says, "And now, because of this great thing which my people, the Nephites, had done, they began to boast in their own strength, and began to swear before the heavens that they would avenge themselves of the blood of their brethren who had been slain by their enemies. And they did swear by the heavens, and also by the throne of God, and they would go up to battle against their enemies, and would cut them off from the face of the land. And it came to pass that I, Mormon, did utterly refuse from this time forth to be a commander and a leader of this people, because of their wickedness and abomination. Behold, I had led them, notwithstanding their wickedness, because I had led them many times into battle, and loved them according to the love of God which was in me, with all my heart, and my soul had been poured out in prayer unto my God all the day long for them. Nevertheless, it was without faith, because of the hardness of their hearts. And thrice have I delivered them out of the hands of their enemies, and they have not repented of their sins. And when they had sworn by all that had been forbidden them by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that they would go up unto their enemies to battle, to avenge themselves of the blood of their brethren, behold, the voice of the Lord came unto me, saying, Vengeance is mine, and I will repay. And because this people repented not after I delivered them, behold, they shall be cut off from the face of the earth." That's where we'll leave it. That's where we'll leave that reading of the Book of Mormon. Flipping epic. And unfortunately, that's what it is. It's like the people that cheer on murder because it's based are like the Nephites who swear by the heavens, who swear by the throne of God, these things that they should not do, that they would murder their enemies, that they would avenge their brothers. And you may think vengeance isn't totally bad if it's justifiable. It's not about being justified. It's about being Christ-like. So, hugely important verses. He was thinking about Moroni. Okay, that's fair enough. There's an epic clip, dude. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get to the super chat. No. We'll stay on this. We'll stay on this real quick. We're going to address all the super chats. But this clip, dude, bro, heat, bro. The church made some videos to accompany the Book of Mormon not too long ago. It was last year, I think. And they made a video of those chapters from the actual Book of Mormon. And the videos go so flipping hard, dude. If you ever want an easy way to basically hear the whole story of the whole Book of Mormon, then just watch these videos. We're gonna skip to the part that I'm discussing, which was dude, not sad. It unironically makes me very sad. Watching it and not watching it. The video doesn't so much make me sad, but the whatchamacallit, the reading does. Like, I don't know what it is, but reading the story of Mormon, reading how literally he had this entire civilization that all turned from Christ. He's the only one left. I mean, this is brutal. Anonymous says, bro, you got to get your boy Jackson Paul to get Nick Shirley on an episode with you for an interview.
Anonymous sent $5, bro, you got to get your boy Jackson Paul to get Nick Shirley in an episode with you for an interview. 100 emoji.
I'm joking. I thought I got his contact, but I guess I didn't. And he's kind of too famous for everybody now. So, but we'll see. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys this short clip. Basically, it shows what I was just describing. This is not even is this the video? Yeah, here it is, dude. And he's mogging, bro. Mormon's mogging. Mormon mogs. That's a little sacrilegious, I think. But Mormon mogs so hard. That's his son, Moroni, in the videos. I don't know about the Moroni casting. I'm not nuts about it, but we'll watch.
And we did beat them. And now, because of this great thing which my people had done, they began to boast in their own strength. And I did utterly refuse from this time forth to be a commander and a leader of this people, because of their wickedness and abomination.
I swear by the throne of God that we will cut our enemies from off the face of this land!
I had led them and had loved them according to the love of God which was in me with all my heart. And my soul had been poured out in prayer unto my God all the day long for them. Nevertheless, it was without faith because of the hardness of their hearts. And I did stand as an idle witness to manifest unto the world the things which I saw and heard.
Dude, doesn't that go so hard? Doesn't that actually go so hard? Like, and this is him. He's engraving. There he is. This is the way that they may have actually like written down what is in the gold plates of the Book of Mormon, like the original. It was inscribed on metal tablets. This is a way that it could have been done. You've got the rings on the side, which is how it was being bound up, and then this is him etching in each word. It was a very difficult thing to do.
Into the present time, I do make my record from the accounts which have been given by those who were before me, until the commencement of my day.
Anyway, banger. So is anyway, that I don't know. I love that. And then here is dude, I don't know, bro. He's mogging so hard. He's mogging. I'm sorry. This is a little sacrilegious, but he's mogging so hard, bro. This MFA said, I swear by the throne of God, we will cut our enemies off the face of the earth. And Mormon just said, I'm not going to command you guys anymore. That's crazy, bro. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry, that's a little bit sacrilegious. I just had to share that. It's one of my favorite videos ever, dude. That video goes so hard. At the end of it, there's a huge battle. There's a huge war. At the end of it, there's a huge freaking war. Like, listen. Isn't that crazy? Okay, sorry. I get too excited about this. Now let's address and read all the super chats. By the way, somebody in the chat said earlier, yeah, Papa Clutch. Papa Clutch, I don't have a beef with BlackRock. What? Who said I have a beef with BlackRock? Does BlackRock have a beef with me? I don't have any beef with him. He does great stuff. I got no beef. All right, let's watch or react. So Joan, yeah, the Connecticut GOP governor candidate Ryan Fazio for governor for Connecticut. It looks legit. Looks like it looks like there's a new just wave of these America First candidates all around the country. I like his optics. He's a little chud-like. Dude, this guy's actually super chud-like. Hold on, guys. You gotta see this chud. You gotta see this chud real quick. This the chud and the chudette. We love our chuds. Look at this freaking guy. He's chipper looking. I love that. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, bro. I rock with that smile, dude. That's a chipper smile. I ain't even finna hold you. I ain't even finna hold you, twin. I'll be rocking with that. I'll be rocking with that smile. Oh, I'm covering his girlfriend? Based? No. Anyway, that's his girl. That's his wife, I believe. You guys can't see her. There you go. But he just has a chipper. He's got a chipper little smile. I don't know. He has to do some micro needling on the eyebrows. But anyway. So, hey, thank you for sending that in. Joan, appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, he said the right thing. He said the right ththing. That's good. I just feel like it's almost artificial now. There's all of these politicians who are now saying, like, I'll never take money from AIPAC. It's just kind of like the thing to say. Say the base things. They all need to be tested. All of these politicians need to be tested in the fires of an election. Okay? That's what has to happen. But we'll jump back into our super chats. Garrett
Paler just subscribed on YouTube.
Thank you, Garrett. And let's actually jump in. The first super chat that we went over was Irish Madness, who said, still LDS in the big 2026? Come on, man. Having your own planet sounds cool and stuff. It does. I hate when people dunk on that. They're like, first of all, it isn't doctrinal. We have no doctrine that actually says that we're going to get planets. It's like just kind of people assume stuff. There's no doctrine that says that. Let me be clear. But let's be so for real. God was once a normal dude. Hey, ever heard of a guy named Jesus Christ? Question for you. Do you believe that Jesus Christ is God? Do you believe that Jesus Christ was once a normal dude? Boom. And then, like a normal human guy? I mean, yeah, we believe that God was once a man the way that Jesus Christ was once a man because Jesus Christ is God. Anyway, Jesus doesn't equal God. Well, if you read the first page of the Book of Mormon, if you read the first page, this is literally, boom, there's the Book of Mormon. There's the cover, Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. And there it is, boom. I've done some highlighting. This is my mission, one of my mission copies. What does it say there? What is the purpose of the Book of Mormon? To show unto a remnant of the house of Israel the great things that the Lord hath done for their fathers, that they may know the covenants of the Lord, that they are not cast off forever, and also to the convincing of the Jew and Gentile that Jesus is the Christ, the eternal God, manifesting himself unto all nations, and now, if there are faults, they are the mistakes of men. I rest my case. All that being said, only L of yours I can find. Wife and kiddo say hi. Hey, thank you, man. Jokes aside, I appreciate the huge super chat. Thank you so much. I hope the wife and the kiddos are doing great. Good on you, getting out there, having other chipper and jovial offspring. And then here we got this super chat. I like this question.
Anonymous sent $10. Do you think the situation is going to explode like the BLM movement did?
Dude, sorry, I just got a notification. Jaden McNeil tweeted about me. Jaden McNeil said, she Freudian slip. Jaden quote tweeted my tweet and says, she accelerated towards the officer. Griff TV groypers can't help but side with Antifa and third world scum against American patriots. The so-called American patriots can't think critically. Like, none of what he just said at all represents my perspective. At all. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, guys, please, unironically, I want you to say it in the chat. Am I crazy? Like, give me your genuine takes. Like, if you read my tweet, did you assume that I was like a Neanderthal? Please, unironically, please, just let me know if I'm crazy on this. I really don't think I am. I really don't think I am. Please. Just please tell me. Anyway. Do you think the situation is going to explode like the BLM movement did? I think so. Again, we are overdue with this. It's Minneapolis. Things are only getting worse. I don't know if the National Guard situation is going to explode the exact same way I predicted it could. But I think absolutely you're going to see violent protests. You're already seeing them. There are already people breaking in to the state courthouse. So I 100% I 100% believe it has the potential to blow up. And then, yo, we got a huge 26. Huge 26 by our boy Asian Mormon. Love this freaking guy. The GOAT of all time? The GOAT of all time, by the way? Asian Mormon?
Asian Mormon sent $26.
Thank you. And he sent media with it. The BYU fight song, dude. BYU. Yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. I wonder if we won. I actually got to look up the results of the game. Hold on. BYU football. BYU football. I love football. Dude. Tell me that doesn't go so hard, bro. Dude, this goes crazy hard. I'm not gonna lie with you. I ain't even finna hold you, dog. This goes hard. This goes really hard. I don't care if he is Asian and Mormon. Bro has got to go. He's never leaving, dude. He's my GOAT. Asian Mormon is my GOAT, okay? He's the George Soros of the stream, okay? So anyway. Yo, more. Thanks for the subscription
on YouTube.
Dude, what a banger. The BYU fight song, bro. Holy banger, bro. Cougar song, banger. What's up with Tucker looking like he's on Ozempic? He's probably on Reddit True Tide. Everybody and their mom is on Reddit True Tide, bro. It's crazy. I don't know what's up with that, dude. I don't know why everybody and their freaking dog is on Reddit True Tide. Do I do it? Kai's got a soft spot for Asians, but not Somalis. True, 100%, 100%. I would take 100 million Asians over 100,000 Somalis. Probably. I love Asians, dude. I don't know, and not romantic. Hold on. Not romantically. I am not a boomer. I'm not a spiritual boomer. Me personally, Asians, not my type. Hey, love you. I love you. Asian Mormon, I love you. Personally, hey, you and me, we're not going to be competing, okay? Let me just say that. That's a good thing. So it's not even why I'm saying it. I just love Asians. Asians are just freaking awesome people, okay? So, yeah, anyway. But I love them still. Hey. Well, yeah, anyway. Huge. Speak of the freaking angel. Speak of the angel real quick. Speak of the angel. Asian Mormon with the $100 flipping dollars. 100 doubloons, bro.
W take is always from Kai.
100 doubloons. When I've got Asian Mormon in my corner, we're chilling. You and me against the world, big guy. Thank you guys. Seriously. Huge super chat. Can we get a W? Can we get a flipping W in the chat? Can we get a flipping W in the chat, please? That's huge. That is a huge super chat. So, okay, TCAF. Okay, TCAF, what are we talking about there? Okay, TCAF, what are you talking about there? Okay, TCAF, be careful there. Stop leaking that information. Stop it. Stop leaking that info, please. Anyway, huge W in the chat and a huge 07. Yo, can we get 07s too? I know we just hit the, yo, look at those W's, bro. The Devin Wilieka, that guy just popped out with a ton of W's. Let's get 07s now. Let's get 07s, okay? Can we get 07s in the chat? That's what's up. The 07s is what we need now too. Asian Mormon's so rich he'd be paying 20% tithing. Asian Mormon is so rich when he goes to do his tithing, you best be right that he also puts down a charitable contribution. You best believe he is sending money to the ward missionaries. You best believe he's putting in a fast offering, and he don't even be fasting. Asian Mormon be so rich, he puts in a fast offering when there is no fast. Real, bro. That's the goat right there. Dude, 07's a huge yippee. A huge yippee for our boy. All right, Celtic Barbarian. Yay, that's a little sus. That's a little sus. Seriously, though, it's, yeah. I'm checking, by the way, the story of the shooting. Hold on, let's see if there's any info. There's no suspect in custody as of an hour ago. They're Tongan wards. Let's see. The shooting occurred outside the church. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem to be we don't seem to know anything. I don't know if it was targeted. It could be, honestly, it could be like a gang thing. Like there's a lot of Laotian, Polynesian gangs. Not church affiliated. That could be the case. No idea. But is it secretly Elder Gong? Dude, imagine. That'd be hilarious. Anyway, I don't know if he'd love what I say. But yeah. Oh, Anonymous said leftist homo radical. That's what it was. Yeah, you just got to stop immigration from out of state. That's unironically, if there's a way to do that, we need to do that. We need to limit migration to the state of Utah, and we need to bump the birth rate up and limit migration from outside the state of Utah, especially from California. Maybe we do like dude, Deseret migration. You can only immigrate to Utah from, okay, well then again, like Nevada and Idaho, or Nevada and Arizona. I don't necessarily know if we want people from those states. You can immigrate to Utah. New rule. You can immigrate to Utah if you are from Idaho, if you are from Colorado, not Denver, and if you are from Gilbert, Arizona, or what is it, Henderson, Nevada? Is that the good one? I don't know. Those are the options. Anything besides that, you can't stay here. Sorry, you just can't. You just can't stay in Utah. I'm sorry. Look, we have done it. We have to shut down interstate migration until we can figure out what the heck is going on. The LDS population in Utah is below 50% for the first time ever. That's a problem. So we got to just shut down this whole immigration thing. And you can immigrate if you're from like the Mormon parts of California. That's also allowed because we like California. Or we don't like California, but we like the LDS people there are actually pretty good for the most part. So Idaho isn't sending their best. Yeah, but you got to think like Rexburg, Texas. I'm sorry, motherboard beans. You guys have way too many Hispanics in Texas. I'm sorry, man. NorCal, you see? This is what I'm talking about, Papa. That's what I'm saying. Papa Clutch. I told you, dude. I know game. I know ball. But a lot of these guys that are just coming from LA because they like know Utah's like a nice place to live. Get the flip out of here, my guy. Remigration to California now. So anyway, let's see what else we got. Hawkeye, we addressed that. Anonymous with the 10. Anonymous with the 5. I think. Okay, we're caught up now. We're caught up now with super chats. So if you send them in now, they'll get here. They'll get here before we end the stream. By the way, we're at how many viewers? What are we at? We've done over 2,000 views on the stream, and we are at almost 70 concurrent live viewers. That's actually pretty good. We're improving. We're improving a lot. Every single stream does better. So just keep tuning in, dude. Keep tuning in. What is that? Motherboard Beans says, Hispanic convert here. Oh, mil disculpas, amigo. Perdón, no sabía. Lo amamos. ¿A vos? Yo te doy la visa para Utah. La visa utana. Así que, get on in here. But we're closing the door behind you. And no chain migration. Anyway, yeah, Cache Valley. Dude, real. Trust me, I know. We hit 100 earlier? Dude, 100 concurrent. That's sick. That's sick. The big leagues are called. Hey, what's that? It's the big leagues. Do you guys like the new video? The new like super cut of the Jubilee video? I thought that was clever. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was a hilarious video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I tried my best. Who's Jimmy Rex? Who is Jimmy Rex? Haven't heard of this guy. Will there be any Jubilee videos with you featured coming out? Well, we just had one come out last Sunday. That's the last one that I filmed. It was just me cheesing. It was literally just me cheesing in the background. Let me see if Jubilee has any good casting right now. Oh, dude, in our lovely desert where the saints of God have met. So real, bro. Dude, poco carne comerán. So real. Swiper swap, Surrounded. Pro-Palestine individuals on Surrounded. I'm not necessarily pro-Palestine, though. So, who's it going to be against? Is it going to be against, like, Douglas Murray? Odd one out. MAGA Republicans. That could be interesting. What's odd one out? What does that show? Yeah, it doesn't look like they have a lot of good casting right now. Oh, it's one of them is secretly a Democrat. That would, okay, dude, that would be so much fun, though. Dude, that would be so much fun, though. That would be a blast. I'm not even going to lie.